Hola, bienvenidos amantes y aficionados a la Fórmula 1. Retomamos acá el tema de la carrera de Brasil de 1981, donde los integrantes del equipo Williams eran Alan Jones y Carlos Reuteman, y le habían hecho firmar a Reuteman un contrato de que si no había más de 7 segundos yendo Reuteman primero, debía dejar pasar a Alan Jones al puesto número 1. Ese día en el autódromo de Jacarepaguá llovió y magistralmente Reuteman tomó la punta y ganó la carrera, desobedeciendo el cartel que le habían puesto desde el equipo Williams, que decía Jon-Reut, o sea que significaba que debía dejar de pasar a Jones y dejar su liderato de la carrera. Ya sabemos cómo fue la historia, que llovía y que Reuteman manifestó que no había visto el cartel. Y acá, con el afán de escuchar las dos campanas, encontré en YouTube esta entrevista que hizo el periodista Tom Clarkson a Alan Jones recientemente, o sea, hace poco tiempo, pasado tantos años. Alan Jones habla de Carlos Reuteman. El tema es presentado por EFE1Tv a través de Ricardo DÖCIMO, que justamente nos pone en conocimiento de esta entrevista de Tom Clarkson. Bueno, vamos al video.
Y si yo le digo el nombre Alan Jones, desde ya usted en su mente instantáneamente aparecerá la imagen de Alan Jones de los 80 y también la de Carlos Alberto Reuteman. Y también, ¿por qué no?, la del Gran Premio de Brasil de 1981, donde fue el detonante de la gran discordia entre estos dos compañeros de equipo. En esta entrevista que vamos a ver ahora, que realizó Tom Clarkson, un famoso periodista de la Fórmula 1, Alan Jones le cuenta a Clarkson, a través de una pregunta que este le ha hecho, sobre la relación que ha tenido con Carlos Alberto Reuteman y cuándo fue el momento de la detonación de esa, no digamos amistad, pero por lo menos esa buena relación que venían teniendo. Escuche muy atentamente los detalles que dice Alan Jones muchos años después, porque esta entrevista que vamos a ver ahora ha sido hace unos meses, donde cuenta qué ocurrió desde el Gran Premio de Brasil en adelante y también qué pensaba él, cómo no lo encaró a Carlos Reuteman y qué pensaba de lo ocurrido nada menos que Frank Williams. Lo vemos.
Let's talk more about that following year. You had Reuteman as your teammate, of course. Actually, let's talk about that Reuteman relationship and how it evolved. And I mean, spiky, I think we could call it that, couldn't we?
Well, it didn't start off that way. I mean, at the end of the day, Carlos was just another teammate. I didn't have any perceived or preconceived ideas about him. You know,
How was your relationship when you weren't teammates prior to him coming to Williams?
Oh, well, my relationship with Mo was pretty vague. I never really used to socialise with any of them, and never. I mean, apart from sort of getting on the odd bus to go somewhere with all the other drivers, or maybe if you were staying at a hotel on a test day, like a non-racing weekend, where you might bump into them at breakfast or something.
Would you sit with them?
No, preferably not. I just wanted to do my own thing. You know, I didn't want to let my guard down in any way. And I used to.
Do you regret that in hindsight?
No, not at all. I'd had breakfast with Jody. I got on okay with Jody. Ronnie was a lovely bloke. I got on all right with him. But the rest of them, really, I couldn't give two shits about, to be honest with you.
Enemies, effectively.
Well, they were just things that had to be passed. And that was it.
Things.
Yeah. And I just took the personality out of it completely.
Yeah.
I didn't say, oh, here comes such and such, I've got to get past him. It was just a thing that was on the circuit that had to be passed at all costs.
So why and when did it break down so badly with Carlos?
Well, I tell you, it was very simple. Frank had laid out a deal whereby, and it was Frank's idea, not mine, And quite rightly, when you look at it, he said, I'm not paying for two cars travel halfway around the world to be comfortably in the lead, and have the two drivers take each other out. So he brought up a set of rules which I thought would never come into play, because I think that we had to be more than 10 seconds in front of whoever was third. We had to be less than a second apart from one another. So there was all these sort of criterias that had to be met, and I thought, well, that's pretty unlikely. That probably won't happen.
Did he lay down the law at the start of the season?
At the start. Well,
right.
no, Carlos signed the contract. It was in his contract. It was in his contract, and he signed it. This is the thing that upset me.
And your contract?
Not contract, but it didn't have to be because it was in his. And he told me that what he'd put in Carlos's contract, so that was good enough for me. I just said, right, well, if he's put that in his contract and Carlos has signed it, well, that's the deal. And then we went to the first race, which was Long Beach, and Carlos had been on the major fitness campaign and eating raw meat and Christ knows what, and he was going to come back with a vengeance. And he was leading and went wide, and in doing so I zipped down the inside of him and actually won the race. And I don't think he was terribly happy with that, but that was his balloon, not mine. And then we went to, I think it was Caparanja or whatever it was, in Brazil, and it was raining. And I think we were on the front row or we were up there, and off we went. And we were literally half a second apart for the majority of the race. And I thought, well, I won't take any chances here because it's wet. But I go up the inside of him and lock a wheel up, or he comes on me, we're going to hit and have each other off, which is exactly what Frank didn't want. I thought, I'll just stick here, and if the situation presents itself, if he goes wide, slips a bit wide, I'll zip in. But if he doesn't, I'll just stay where I am. So with about 10 laps to go, I thought, this bugger's not going to do anything. And I thought, I know what he's going to do. He's going to, like with about 1 lap to go, he's going to pull over and put the hand out the cockpit, and the big magnanimous sort of, I had to do it, it was my race, but, blah, blah, blah. Which I didn't care. I was going to win a Grand Prix, I didn't care what he did. And but he didn't do it, he just kept going. And I thought, well, that was really bad, because I understand if you're a racing driver, you're competitive, and I understand the difficulty it must be to give a race away, or to have to pull over, or to the guy behind you. But he should never have signed the contract if that's what he was never going to do. That was my gripe. But it's funny how circumstances work out, because it was pouring with rain. I got to the podium and no one was there, literally. So I've hopped out of the car and I thought, well, where is everybody? I'm not standing around here in the bloody rain. They can all go to buggery. So I actually went back to the garage. Of course, that was immediately translated in me having the shits and storming off in a huff because of what happened. But honest to God, that wasn't the truth. The fact of the matter was, I just didn't want to be out there in the rain. So it's funny how things are translated. And then...
So how did the conversations go after the race? What did you say?
I didn't talk to him.
Why not?
Well, because he's not a man of his word. I mean, if I shake your hand or sign a contract, I adhere to it. Or if I don't like what's in the contract, I don't sign it. Simple as that.
So did you ever confront him face to face about this?
Well, I don't think I actually brought it up in those in that exact terms, like, Carlos, you signed the contract, you should, because, I mean, I wasn't his boss. That was Frank's job to say that, not mine. I was his teammate. I mean, what he signed and why he didn't adhere to it is not my problem. I didn't pay his wage, but he knew I was pissed off, let me tell you.
So what did Frank say to you? What did you say to Frank?
Well, Frank fined him financially, and I never forget, because it was quite funny, because the next race was Buenos Aires, and I had to have a police escort from the airport to the hotel, basically.
You're a marked man, I guess.
Well, taxi drivers were going past giving me the bird, and Christ knows what. And then even when I went to the first practice session at the circuit, the bloody marshals were giving me the bird. And I thought, Christ, I hope I don't bloody flip over and catch on fire or something. These bastards will just let me burn. They were well pissed off that, they're carless, And so from then I just said to him, all bets are off. All bets are off, mate. Like, at the end of the day, and I said to Frank, all bets are off, mate. Like, as far as I'm concerned, we can be the other side of the world. We can be in Timbuktu. I'm having a go. If he's in front of me and there's a space, I'm having a go. just like if he was in another team, another competitor.
And Frank understood that, I would guess.
Well, he
The
wasn't
racer in
terribly
Frank,
happy with it, but
Yeah.
he understood. He said,
Yeah.
"Oh, Alan, it's only Frank could do, you know." But
Yeah.
Alan, please, I'm sure we can work.
What did
this.
Patrick say?
Oh, well, Patrick's a racer. He just stormed off and let him bloody sort it out or something like that. But they're only employees.
Didn't Patrick once say drivers are like light bulbs?
Yeah. Oh, and Frank said too, they're just employees. And I understand that, because I said to my wife, I said, you know what? If I got killed, the first thing Frank probably would say, shit, poor old Alan, I liked him. Second thing he'd say, shit, now who can we get to replace him? And that's fair enough. I completely understand and appreciate that, because I would do exactly the same thing. He's running a Formula One team. His job is to win Grand Prix. And so therefore, if his driver injures himself or can't drive the car, his first and only thought should be, who can we replace him with that's going to do the job?
Muy bien, ya estamos terminando y al final del programa nos quedan algunas pequeñas conclusiones de lo que acabamos de escuchar. A Alan Jones hablando de Carlos Reuteman y de la temporada 81. En algunos casos particularmente tengo que decir que es la primera vez que lo escucho a Jones hablando de Carlos Reuteman en esos términos sobre lo ocurrido en el Gran Premio de Brasil del 81. Y también me sorprende que un piloto de Fórmula 1 interprete que los otros pilotos sean, como lo dijo él, entre comillas, cosas a las que había que pasar. Si yo tenía un concepto determinado de Alan Jones, ahora me queda mucho más claro que estaba en lo cierto. Muy bien, seguramente a usted le esté pasando lo mismo. Nos vamos a reencontrar en apenas 7 días y como siempre, muchísimas gracias por estar. Chao.
Seguiremos con el tema. Les aclaro que no busco tener la razón. La razón estará por ahí, más acá, más allá, andará por ahí. Pero simplemente quiero presentar todos los hechos y que cada uno saque las conclusiones que crea pertinentes. Los saludo, los dejo y cuídense mucho, por favor, de esta peste, como siempre les recomiendo. Hasta la próxima y que estén muy bien.